and welcome to the Gussets and Go Days podcast, episode number 5. My name is Christina and this is my podcast about my knitting, stitching and crafting endeavours. Today I would like to share with you my sock projects, so do a little sock tour of all of the socks I've knitted in the last year, the 2017. So I had never knitted socks before. It's the first time I've ever attempted to do so. After watching all of the lovely podcasts that I do, I was really inspired to take part in the box of Sox KAL and fill my box with socks. So as I said, I'd never done it before and I just wanted to go through the progression of where I started, share with you some of the lovely yarns, and if you are a new knitter, I would love for you to be inspired to knit a pair of socks, and I can share with you the mistakes that I've made and the things I've been really proud of. So I have made some notes and I'm going to start from the beginning. So the first pair of socks I knitted were a pair of vanilla socks. Sorry, sock blockers. So I didn't know what a vanilla sock was, to be honest, and there isn't a specific pattern. That was quite confusing to me in the beginning. So vanilla socks are just where you're doing a plain stockinette sock in your own recipe of cuffs, heels and toes. So there isn't one pattern. So this was my first pair of socks. Ooh, is that focusing? Yeah, there we go. So I used a very vanilla sock pattern by Jo-Anne Klim, and then I did the fish lips kiss heel by the Sox Therapist. I knitted the 64 stitches that seem to be recommended by a lot of patterns, and I did from the cuff down. I knitted on 64 stitches, 2 by 2 rib, couple of inches of cuff until I was bored. Put in the fish lips kiss heel, which you can see was not perfect. You know, it's a little bit not perfect, but that's all right, don't mind. And then the toe pattern is from the Hermione's Everyday Sock pattern. So it's a 19 row decrease, some decrease rows with slip knit and then knit 2 together, and then some plain just knit rows. So you alternate, and it explains how to do that. So these socks are a little bit tight, I would say. I actually haven't worn any of my socks, so I don't know how well they're going to wear or fit after a couple of hours, but there was a third sock, so I've got 2. The third one did not fit me. It was so tight across here. So I just put that into my granny stripe blanket and knit another one. Anyway, really happy with those. So this is got it written there, the Robin's Egg colourway in the Uncommon Thread Tough Sock. It's a fingering weight yarn, and then this one is the Lang Yarns Jawoll in their white. This came with an extra spool of reinforcement thread, and I have added that in the heel but not in the toe. Really happy with those. Those were my first pair. My second pair of socks are so pretty. I went to Loop in London to buy some, I told that story already, to go and buy some yarn for socks, and I had chosen this beautiful Madeline Tosh Pashmina yarn, which is cashmere in the Cosmic Wonder Dust colourway, and they were not impressed with my choice. I did get a definite look when I said it was for socks, but they're for bed socks, so I imagine they would hole quite badly, but I won't wear them on the floor. A really close view. Yeah, isn't it pretty? And then I used a little bit of the Debbie Bliss Baby Cashmerino in the lipstick colourway. I think they're so pretty. The pattern is the Blueberry Waffle Socks by, so I'm looking down because I have written a few notes, Sandy Turner. This is a free pattern. If you can knit and purl, then I would recommend this sock because it's knit on much bigger needles. So these were, what were these? 3.25. These are the Addy lace needles. I would just say they don't smell nice. They're gold. And you can really smell a metal smell, and I don't like that. I didn't think I would care, but I do. So I probably wouldn't use those again. I would go for a different brand, but you're using a much thicker needle. It's a much thicker yarn. It knits up really quickly, and because you've got the knit and purl stitches, you're creating a rib, a disrupted, yeah, rib, and it's easier for fitting. So there's more stretch in it. So I would recommend these as a first sock pattern myself. I added the Fish Lips Kiss Heel again, and I added the toe from the Hermione's Everyday Socks pattern because I really enjoyed it, and it gave me a nice toe that I was happy with. So yeah, the first socks that I knit, I used the Addies again. These are the silver ones, so they're nickel plated in the 2.25. So that's not going to focus on that at all, is it? But that's all right. I really like knitting on them, but the cord really kinks up badly. So after a couple of pairs of socks, I've moved on now to the higher sharps, still in the 2.25. But this just annoyed me, like, bouncing around. So I've moved now onto the higher sharps in the 80cm cord 2.25. I really like them. I don't push my knitting along with the tip of my finger on the point. If you did, you would probably end up with a hole on the end of your finger. They work out really nicely for me. So all of my other socks, I've used those needles, I think. All right, moving along. I'm sure I've missed out some important things, but you can always ask me a question in the comments if I leave anything out. These are the Hermione's Everyday Socks. See if that's focusing. By Erica Lueder, knit on the higher sharps. The yarn is Norah George Hermione's ball gown in her super sock, and I knit these on 68 stitches. There we are. I knit them on the 68 stitches instead of the 64, and they're really pretty. Really happy with those. I did the toe from this pattern. I did the Fish Lips Kiss Heel, which I've done on nearly all of my socks. I did a 1x1 rib this time. Struggling with the focus today, but that's all right. Really pretty. This yarn is just stunning, with the little specks of pinky and purpley bits. There we are. Really nice. Anyway, so really love those. Those are lovely. Okay, and then I moved on to some self-striping. And after I had done the 68 stitches on those socks, I thought I'd continue because that fits much better across here. So these socks, that's a Sirdar yarn. They're Heart and Soul, and this is in the Find Your Sea Legs colour. 68 stitches on higher sharps, again from the top down. And then when I did the Fish Lips Kiss Heel, I took the yarn from the middle of the ball and I knitted the rest from the outside. And they do match perfectly. through the sock, and I believe the heel as well. Yeah, the heel as well. Almost exactly, I think. Maybe one row off on the heel, maybe. But these are really nice. They're much sturdier. I imagine they will wear really nicely. I enjoyed knitting them. The stripes were super fun. It does, see, this annoys me where it staggers, but there's nothing you can do about that. And also where you get these like blips of colour, there's like a little bit there. That does irritate me, but there's nothing you can do about it, so I just leave it as it is. They're a really lovely sock. Yeah. Okay. Now these were another vanilla sock. Once I got the vanilla sock down, I was really I loved it. So this was a yarn I got on holiday. It's a foreign yarn from Sweden. It's called Soft Raggi. This is the purple colourway that they do. Then the colourway 31203. I knit them on the 52 stitches on the 3.25mm needles, the Addy ones, because that's not a fingering weight yarn, it's thicker, it's a sport weight. The yarn itself is super stretchy, so when you pull it, it really bounces, but in the sock it isn't really as stretchy as I thought it would be. But they're pretty. 2x2 rib, fish lips kiss heel, same toe. They both match perfectly. The way I do that is when I cast on with the long tail cast on, and I measure from my first stitch into the ball of yarn, and I measure how far between that stitch and the next colour change, how far away I am, and then I make a note of that in my notebook, and I do the same exact thing the next time, and then I get the same exact sock. And for me that's important. It might not be for you, but for me that's important. But the colour's pretty. They're another bed sock, I think, so I like bed socks. Fantastic. The next pair is another Hermione's Everyday sock. I did the same as the last, 68 stitches. And these are like a mermaid sock, so pretty. It's the Stranded Dyeworks Oasis base in the colour Disco Pop, and they are my mermaid socks. Exactly the same thing, 68 stitches, cuff down. Really enjoy this pattern. You do have to pay attention just that little bit more than a vanilla sock, but the result is just stunning. And at first I found it difficult to read my knitting, but now this is a really good one, I think, to learn how to read your knitting. So you can look at what you've knit and actually recognise where you are in your pattern repeat. I think that's such a valuable skill to learn. So yeah, knit those again, higher sharps. Okay, hope this isn't so boring. I'm really proud of my socks, but you might not actually care. These were my Christmas in July socks. It's from the Regia design line in their Summer Night colourway, and then this contrast is the Rosehips of Red colourway from Herbstblatt Regina in her Hazel soft sock. And I did 68 stitches, 2x2 ribbing, the long tail cast on. I always do the long tail cast on. For me it's super stretchy. 68 stitches Fish Lips Kiss Heel, and the Hermione's Everyday 19 row repeat, 19 row pattern for the toe. I've seen quite a lot of podcasters knit these ones up, and they are so, for me, they are not summer nights, they really are Christmassy. And I knit them in July, so they're my Christmas in July socks. Really nice. How are we doing for time? Not too badly at all. Okay. And after doing the Sirdar Heart and Soul, I thought I'd do another. This is the Dancing Shoes colourway, which are not my usual colours actually at all. Very, very bright, and I'm not a huge purple fan or a massive bright pink fan, but I thought they were just really fun. I enjoyed knitting the blue pair more than I did this purple pair. I don't know why that is actually. It might just be the colour. But I did the exact same thing. Long tail cast on, 68 stitches, leg till I'm bored, Fish Lips Kiss Heel, and I have memorised the Fish Lips Kiss Heel now. After 5 in, and Hermione's Everyday sock toe. Okay, how many pairs are we on now? I don't know, I haven't counted. Alright. Oh, these ones I did wear, actually. This is another vanilla sock, which is in the Herbstblatt Regina Hazel Socks soft sock in her Wannabe Crocus Drift. So the yarn that she dyed, I imagine, hadn't come out exactly as she wanted it, so she sold it as a wannabe colour instead of the true colourway. And I just thought it was so pretty and quite autumnal to me, so I knitted it in the autumn. And I like that it was a wannabe colour. I like that it was unique, and she won't dye that exactly the same again. It's so speckly and pretty. For the Hazel soft sock, I only need to do a 64 stitch count. 64 stitch count. Because it's a plumper yarn, I won't do the 68, I will do the 64. And they're a little bit roomier than the other socks, which is not a problem. But I think in future with her yarn I will step down. I took them with me shoe shopping so that I could buy a pair of boots to wear my lovely hand knit socks with. That's the only time I wore them. Because although they're done in fingering weight yarn hand knit socks, they are much thicker than a jersey sock you'd buy in the shops, which most people wear. So I sized up on my boots so I could fit them in. Not that you care about that, really, but you never know. Oh, another reason actually why these are a little bit bigger is because I ordered the ChowGoo 9-inch circulars. And they do loosen up your knitting a bit, so there we are. I don't love knitting with them, I must say, but I think I knit one foot with it, and then I knit the other sock entirely, but not the cast on. I think I cast it on the higher sharps and did a couple of rows, and then switched to these. It makes because you don't faff with the cord and you just go round and round, it does reduce the time it takes. So I do tend to keep this now in my notions bag, and if I fancy it, I give it a go. It is awkward, and I have quite large fingers, quite large hands, So I do feel like I'm doing little tiny knitting. But once you get the hang of it, it's actually quite fun. And I like the more solid cord on there. Anyway, so that's why those came out a little bit bigger. Oh yeah. Oh, these were a lovely one. So these are my Christmas tree socks. And, oh, it's got these lacy Christmas trees in there, which are so much fun. Oh, here we go. Evergreen Socks by Madeline Gannon in the pine colourway. I didn't write what the yarn was. What was the yarn? Cascade Heritage. These were Cascade Heritage. I almost did a heel flap and gusset. Almost. I thought how lovely they would be with a heel flap and gusset, and then I bottled it at the last minute. Put in my Fish Lips Kiss heel. Those are really fun. I'm sure I did whatever the recommended stitch count was, so I don't know how many that was. Maybe 64. Anyway, a lot easier than I thought that would be. They were a lot of fun. Okie dokie. Moving on again. So I did the Strawberry Field socks. You've seen these before, I think. Strawberry Field, Rosehips of Red colourway by Herbstblatt Regina. Strawberry Fields by Amber Crawley. And the little lacy holes. Just super pretty. I think this I did the 64. And these fit really lovely in the Hazel soft sock. And they may be one of my, I think these, maybe my favourite. Maybe. Okay. These ones are knitted in the Wendy Rome yarn, which is a wool, and the colourway is Rydell. These are the Mercury Socks by Kim Mackenzie in the medium size, which was 72 stitches, and these are too big. They get quite big after I've worn them. I mean, you can see there. So I can wear them for one day. I wouldn't go a second day with these ones because they need to be washed to shrink in again. I should have gone with the 60 stitches, but I was panicking that 60 would be too small. I should potentially have done the 72 stitches and then sized up the needle. I'm so proud of these. The first time I did the heel turn and gusset, the heel flap, heel turn and gusset, it was really nice. I did these in the hopes that it would make my lace knitting look better, which I guess it has. I just don't enjoy lace so much. I'm not very good with maths, I'm not very good at counting, I get distracted, so lace for me is not, it's not a project to do around people, it's not a project to do when watching TV. I need to sit and really pay attention. So as much as I love these socks, I love how they came out, I did love knitting them, did them on holiday, they're not an easy sock for me. I mean, I know they're more interesting than a vanilla sock, but I don't know. I think I need some practice with lace. Maybe I should do a couple more pairs and see how the knitting does. Anyway, very nice. Very proud of myself on those. And then my last pair of socks of the year were my Christmas socks that you've seen by Giddy Yarns in her Christmas stocking colourway, 68 stitches. Oh, hello. Cuff down. It was 70 grams instead of the 100, 50 of the main colour, 20 of the contrast. Those were super fun. and it's got this like striped effect. I don't know if that was on purpose or, but these are really cool. I love these. There we are. Okay, and then the last pair of socks I've been working on, which are not finished, I'd just like to share with you my Pixel Rise socks by Kemperay, which I did with my Advent yarns from Norah George. And they are beautiful. This is the first time I've done toe up, although because I had to put in the heel between colourworks and not in a colourwork portion where I was changing on a plain row, I hope that makes sense, it's a bit too long, so I'll knit them both I think and then shorten them from the toe. I'll pick up stitches somewhere mid-toe probably, cut it off and unravel it, and then knit a few rows and bind off, because they're just that bit too long. There's one thing that put me off these socks, because they are beautiful. I absolutely love the yarn, I love the pattern, but I'm usually really good at weaving in ends, but these, oh, there's so many ends. I should have done it when I was should have done it while I was knitting, maybe. I just didn't think about it. I was so excited and there's just so many. So it's kind of put me off knitting the second one. I will do it. I've never had a, what do you call it, one sock syndrome? Single sock? I don't know. I don't suffer with that illness. I'm fine with ends. This took it too far. Ooh. Anyway, I did the 72 stitches, which because it's colourwork is fine. Those are all my floats. I think I did a pretty good job. They may be a bit tight, those floats, I don't know. But those ends are just insane. Like, seriously insane. So yeah, need to finish this. It's not such a big foot. It does kind of stretch out and shrink a bit. Convince myself of that. Anyway, that's just all I wanted to show you today. I just wanted to share my socks with you, and the first time I'd knit socks was this year, and I think I've done pretty good. Is that 13 pairs, I think? I didn't count. I'll put all the details for the patterns and the yarns down in the description box. Thank you for joining me, and you can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Gussets and Go Days. Oh gosh, you're meant to say things about subscribing, but you don't. I'm here, and if you ever want to have a chat with me, you know where I am. Lovely to see you, and see you soon. So, bye guys.